Hey, what's happening guys? Welcome to eReviews. So a couple of weeks back, one of my friends bought the Lenovo Phab 2 Plus to gift it to his mom, and thanks to which I was able to unbox and review the budget phablet. Now this device did make some noise in the Indian tech community, but was overshadowed by the OnePlus 3T, Lenovo K6 Power, and more recently the Moto M. Wrong launch date and marketing strategy? Probably, but being one of those few who bought and owned the device for a fair bit of time, I would like to give my complete opinion on the Lenovo Phab 2 Plus. I'm pretty sure you're here for the same as well, so without any further ado, let's get started. I've already discussed the unboxing experience and overview of the device in a dedicated video. I'll leave a card to it right now, check it out if you're interested. Talking about the design and build quality, I must say this is one of the well designed and built smartphones from Lenovo. Despite sporting an enormous 6.4-inch screen and a massive battery, the device does not feel heavy. I mean, 218 grams for a device this big is absolutely acceptable in my opinion. Now this is mainly thanks to the ergonomics of the device. It's got a slight curve to the back, chamfer edges to the sides, and a 2D glass to the front. All these provide a reassuring grip of this rather large device. Speaking of large, no matter how big your hands are, you will definitely need to use both of them to navigate or use this device. The other good thing is the button placement. They're easy to reach and provide good tactile feedback. One of the best in the budget segment if you'd ask me. Okay, so design wise, I'm very impressed. It looks good and feels great to use. If there's one thing I'd change from the design aspect, it would be the back capacitive button transferred over to the right side. You do have a software option where you can swap the functionality, but subconsciously my finger goes to the button that has the back symbol. It might seem like a very simple issue to hear, but the issue is directly proportional to the size of the device. The software swap might take some time getting used to, but they could have avoided this scenario altogether. Build quality wise, it's a solid device, but I highly recommend a protective case at all times, simply because of the 2D glass, which will 90% of the time be the point of impact if you drop this phone. Being glass, I'd let you use your imagination. So coming to the verdict, yes, it's a huge smartphone, yes, single-handed usage isn't possible, but hey, this is what you'd get from a phone which has such a huge screen real estate, and at this price, you gotta say Lenovo has done a good job overall. Hence, I give the Lenovo Phab 2 Plus a good score of 8 out of 10 in this segment. Moving on to performance, the Lenovo Phab 2 Plus is powered by the octa-core MediaTek 8753 processor, which is clocked at 1.3 GHz. This is coupled with 3 GB of RAM and 32 GB of internal storage, out of which you get 23 GB usable space. Now this space can be expanded using a microSD card up to 256 GB, but at the sacrifice of a SIM slot. All this is backed up by a 4050 mAh battery, which in my testing lasted a very long time. When it comes to gaming, the performance can be defined as good, mostly thanks to the large immersive screen. High-end games like Modern Combat 5 and Nova 3 were absolutely playable. Slight stutters and frame drops can be spotted if you hold a very close eye and look for them. Asphalt 8 was as usual troublesome on a MediaTek processor, so I had to turn down the graphics to medium in order to just play. But this is definitely due to the game's optimization rather than the device's fault. One good thing to know is that it did not overheat. I mean, sporting a octa-core processor with a metal body and not heating is definitely a plus. It did get warm after an extensive period of heavy gaming, but not to uncomfortable temperatures. But what impressed me the most was the smoothness in user interface. The Phab 2 Plus runs Vibe UI, a minimalistic custom skin on stock Android 6.0 Marshmallow, with quick settings being the only place where you would find some tweaks. It has been optimized to make best use of the screen space to accommodate more settings options. I was also surprised to see no bloatware on a Lenovo device. Apps open and close smoothly, switching between apps was a breeze, no forced closes, overall a really good software experience. I wholeheartedly welcome this sort of approach from Lenovo. Coming to the most interesting and impressive part of this phablet, the cameras. This is the only smartphone, at least in India, to sport a dual camera setup at this price point. But let's talk about the front camera first. It's an 8 megapixel camera with an aperture of f/2.2 with 1.4 nanometer pixel size, and it can shoot full HD, that is 1080p videos. An impressive spec sheet and even impressive results. One of the major drawbacks with the front facing camera is this. Even though I've turned off the touch-up/beauty mode, the front-facing camera still records with that enabled. It's really annoying because it's too fake and unbelievable but it can be fixed via a software update. Hopefully Lenovo does look into this and get it fixed at the earliest. If Lenovo fixes the beauty mode issue with the stock camera application, you could probably use a third-party application like what I'm doing right now. And I gotta say, the 1080p footage from a front-facing camera, and that too on a smartphone that costs this much, it's absolutely amazing. There's little to no amount of noise, the color accuracy is great, and not to forget, the audio quality from this is absolutely phenomenal. I mean, if you love to take selfies, vlog, periscope, Skype, whatnot, you will absolutely fall in love with this front-facing camera. As I mentioned, the goodness carries over to selfies as well. It's got a group selfie mode, which is sort of like a panorama mode for the front-facing camera, which will definitely come in handy when you have to take a large group selfie. Moving over to the rear cameras, this device sports a dual 13-megapixel camera setup, which have an aperture of f/2.0, accompanied by laser autofocus, face detection autofocus, and dual LED flash. The dual camera setup is implemented in its basic form, that is, shift focus after capturing the image. It does not capture monochrome images and stitches it with color images to provide better quality. No, it doesn't do that. Under good lighting conditions, the Phab 2 Plus produced really nice images. Color accuracy and dynamic range were spot on most of the time. You could just pull out this device and capture a good image. Under low light, the output was surprisingly good when compared to other devices in this budget. HDR does come in handy and does a lot of good to the final output. Well, if you aren't happy with the output of the auto settings, you can spend some more time with the Pro settings to get or capture that perfect moment. Another feature that Lenovo boasts of is the augmented reality mode. What it basically does is the camera interface superimposes a computer-generated image on a user's view of the real world. The feature is still in its nascent form, providing just a handful of AR presets in the camera application. Not sure how many would actually use this feature, but it's there and I'm just letting y'all know. Coming to video, the camera setup tops off at 1080p. No 4K recording at this price point might seem like a bummer, but the 1080p video that it produces is way more than satisfactory. Alright, so let's get to the verdict. The Lenovo Phab 2 Plus is a good example to prove that benchmarks don't always translate to good performance. This device punched way above its spec sheet, and that is really something to appreciate at this price. Therefore, I give the Lenovo Phab 2 Plus another good score of 8 out of 10, giving it an overall score of 16 out of 20. But let's face it, this device is not for everyone, but it's for those who are willing to carry a huge phone. It's for those who consume ample amount of media and want to do it on a big screen. It's for those who want good cameras on a smartphone. It's for those who want a good overall phone. If you fit in any one of these profiles, then look no further than the Lenovo Phab 2 Plus. This is Santosh signing off for eReviews. You guys have a great year ahead.